Welcome to a few plants that I like to look at. Either weeds or invasive species that I do like, or not invasive. I'm here between two buildings, and the building behind me has a roof that drains at my feet for about 80 feet of drainage. So there's a lot of water right here, and it's just a weedy area. Gets sprayed and mowed and whatnot, and there's a lot of invasive species here. So here's a few that I keep an eye on. Here's a type of mustard, and it's called watercress, and it's done. It's finished for the year. I'm going to dehisces. The seeds dehiss, so I think it's already scattered those seeds. Let's see. I think maybe can I get my finger in there? I think there's maybe one right in front of my finger, one seed, one or two seeds. So, but I'll try to collect some of the seeds and spread them around. And here's another one that's a little bit fresher. Might still have some seeds on it, so I'll gather that up as well. And again, that's breast seed. Oh, see, that has a bunch of seeds in it, hopefully. So I'll try to spread those seeds around. And that's a brassica. Tastes a little bit like broccoli. And it's a weed, and it only grows where there's lots of water. And then this is a dry site, but because of the roof drainage here, it's growing. So I'm going to spread that watercress seed around. And here is puncture vine, or goat's heads, a young plant, and you can see that the cotyledons, the two leaves that sprout first, are deeply grooved and dimpled at the end, which looks like a labia to me. And I like to make gross, I don't think it's gross, but inappropriate comments about what things look like if I'm trying to remember. And so hopefully you can remember what goat head cotyledons look like. And spray them early when they first emerge. Maybe. Or not. That's what I'd like people to be able to recognize them at a young age and get rid of them. And here's a mulberry seedling, and that's invasive. I don't want it growing here because I need to have only short vegetation growing here, but it is useful, so I'm going to water it a whole bunch and then transplant it probably to my property. And here's fireweed. I'll show you some blooms later if I get a chance. That does grow a little bit too tall for this area, but I appreciate it. That something will grow here and not have pokies on it. I believe it's a native wildflower, and it loves disturbed soil. So that's a good candidate to compete with more irritating weeds. I call this buttonweed, and the seeds are edible. It won't grow too tall. I imagine it's irritating to people that it grows like this, but it competes with weeds that are even more irritating. And I'm going to move to a riparian zone, or having to do with being close to water. And this is not an invasive species, but it's poison ivy. So I thought I'd give you a look at it. Here's some of these year's flowers. Starting to dry up already. Excuse my editor. Here's a better look at the flowers that are not dried up. The canopy is predominantly non-native elm, which is quite invasive, but the wildlife don't seem to mind. And here's some native snowberry with some whitish pink flowers, and it tends to bloom throughout the summer, even into the fall if it gets enough water. If it doesn't get enough water, then it quits blooming. And we have some tree of heaven, also highly invasive in sandy soils, but the birds don't seem to mind. And there's a fair number of walnut trees, and that could have been planted by squirrels, but I noticed that the crows like to try to fly away with the nuts, and they drop them. Sometimes they drop them on the road intentionally, hoping that the cars will run over them and crack them open. Here's a poison ivy with some berries on it, and that, okay, yeah, I guess that is from this year. It's done blooming already. And there's a wind-planted maple tree, which I think is nice, and some kudzu, I think it is, which is alright. It's invasive, but out west it doesn't really take over too much. So here's a weedy area. That's where I'm going to put my seeds for the watercress. And here we have bulbous bluegrass, invasive, and cheatgrass, wild oats, also invasive. And the wild oats get stuck in my socks and are painful. And the bulbous bluegrass does not do that. And they grow about the same time of year. It's very early. It comes out early in the fall, late in the fall, excuse me, and blooms about the same time as cheatgrass. And the seeds can be either bulbs, or it can reproduce sexually or asexually. This can be, in North America, a lot of times it's a bulb, not a seed. But if I can get this to grow, and if that's the only thing I can get to grow, then I would prefer that over the cheatgrass. So I do try to spread these seeds around a little bit, where the cheatgrass is growing, and hopefully the bulbous bluegrass will grow instead of the cheatgrass. Forgive me, I don't recall the name of this plant. It's probably three-toed or three-leaved something. It's in the pea family. It's a native to the Pacific Northwest inland. And it's an annual. And it has one leaf on one side of the stem, and three leaves usually on the opposite side of the stem, except for down here where it's first growing in the spring. It'll have just only two leaves, but two or three leaves on one side of the stem and only one leaf on the other side of the stem. And that's the plant that I encourage to grow as much as I can. The seed pods when they're ripe, they tend to dehisce readily, so it's kind of hard to catch the seeds. They'll explode and spread their seeds before you can get to them a lot of times. But so whatever that's called, I'll have the name in the comments section. And that's one of the ones that I like to spread around. Here we have another riparian zone, and this is the common hackberry that I want to show you. The leaves are heart-shaped toward the stem and lance-shaped toward the base of the tree. And it's very consistent, at least when it's growing quickly. One leaf will be on one side of the stem, then on the next side, and so on down the stem. And it's at least when it's growing quickly, it's a very consistent pattern that way, and that looks attractive to me. It doesn't have any fruit yet. It's growing under the power line. It's been whacked a bunch of times. It's growing right by the road. It's been whacked by the road crew, the spray crew, the power crew. So it's got kind of a tough real estate to deal with. But the seeds, I've never tried them, but the seeds should taste good, I guess. They're kind of hard to eat, I gather. But I guess it tastes good and has protein and carbs and all the good stuff, fat. So that's an invasive species, but native to North America. And I'm excited that it's growing around here. And then the stuff with the silver leaves, that's Russian olive. I don't like that so much, and it is invasive. And more kudzu. And so aside from maybe some rose bushes or something, everything here is not native until you get out into the cattails. But I'm excited about the common hackberry. And another thought I keep needing to say, though I don't like the Russian olive, the birds don't seem to mind, so I'm not complaining. And back to a dry site where there's lots of soil disturbance, like this 4-wheel track. Lots of dumped garbage on the ground. But this apricot tree, I believe I planted it. It could have been a coyote though. But I think I planted this here. And this soil here is actually from somebody's dry or compost toilet that they dumped out last winter by the road. And I dumped out their poo right here by the apricot tree. And the rest of their poo is in my compost toilet. And then myself and the other neighbors hauled the rest of their garbage off to the dump or wherever. So that's this little spot. I'll be trying to plant other things that I think are useful here. And up there I pulled some Horiolisum, so hopefully I can get that under control. There's a bunch more weeds around here to be pulled, but I'm just out of time. And I need to focus more on planting things that I do like, such as the apricot tree. So that's what I'm going to do. And here's the Horiolisum that maybe I missed, but probably it just grew back after I pulled it. Gotta pull them several times a year to get them. Here's mountain hollyhock, a native to the Pacific Northwest. And the seeds are persistent through the winter. And I've been gathering up the seeds and planting them around in this area. And most of the seeds just right here close by, and then some of them in riparian zones in the area. And here earlier, I think I said there's firewood growing. That's what the flowers look like. And lots of poison ivy rather, that I'm stepping on, so hopefully I won't get it from touching my pants. So thanks for hanging out with me and learning some more about the weeds and whatever that grows around Orville, Washington. Take care.